Don't forget, June the 9th, if you want to see Tom Cruise getting kicked in the face. June the 10th, if you want to watch some Counter-Strike players kicking ass in Counter-Strike for the North American qualifiers as well. Plenty more qualifiers to come on the road to the major in July. We're going to continue here at the PGL Asia Minor Championships right now with the upper bracket final. 2 Australian teams going head-to-head. Who'd have thought that? And we're back with our panel members once more. Blair's back with us as well. You certainly didn't predict, no one predicted, to be fair, but what an exciting tie.
Absolutely. It's been a day of surprises. Like day 1 and day 2, everyone kind of got it right. Like, yeah, we're going to see the Chinese teams and Australians come through, but then we are now guaranteed one team from Australia to go through to the major qualifiers.
And I think when we started this now on day 1 and we looked how poor Renegades were playing, and then day 2 and we thought immunity don't look that good either. They kind of might get past Mongols, and they did. We were worried that we might get a first time where we wouldn't have any Australian teams at the offline finals.
Well, we will, at least. That's guaranteed. But the good thing about the double elimination is still that both the teams that lost will get a chance. The Chinese team get a chance to, first of all, go get at each other, and then have a rematch against one of the Australian teams for a slot to the major qualifier. But definitely very much a big surprise, judging from how this tournament has gone along. But again, they are quite similar in skill, these teams. So the days, kind of the way they were playing that certain day is going to make a difference in the end. And we've seen some great individual plays here throughout, from Wizard, from Burn, from pretty much everyone. For example, from the immunity side, Renegades with Nifty has been rising to the occasion today, especially. He's the man of the day for sure. So yeah, it's just up to them. Like, they've played individually great, but also done some basic tactical things, but still good enough, good decision-making mid-rounds to be able to win those games.
I felt a little bit sorry for our MC there in front of a very hostile Chinese crowd, having to introduce 2 Australian teams who've just beaten both Chinese teams. A bit rough on him, actually. But nevertheless, I think it's also interesting that the Chinese teams don't seem to do too well on home soil.
They used to, historically
speaking, they were quite good in China whenever they got to play on home soil.
They used to only win in China, by the way.
Right, exactly. We couldn't see them win outside that. But what's gone on this time?
I don't know, but I do know what went wrong with Flash, though. Despite all the hype saying, this is Flash, like this is the savior of Asian Counter-Strike. Karsa, CS God. He's got the brains of a Carrigan. His brains of, I don't know, a Danish in-game leader. He's got all the firepower in the world. He's gonna command them like some master commander on the battlefield. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
Immunity played some, like Nado just said, from very basic, solid, textbook Counter-Strike, basic stuff on the T side and overpass, and where was Flash? They just forget aiming. Like, I don't want to put it down to Kaze probably having an off day. I just saw on his Twitter, or I think on Facebook, that he's kind of hurt his wrist, which is why he's kind of feeling it off. But keeping all that aside, it was just some. They had no answer. They had no map control whatsoever. They're just playing very reactive, and whatever rounds were winning was just based off some absolutely ridiculous rounds, which completely tilted Meteors off the face of the planet, like a triple kill with the MP7 from behind and whatnot. So Flash gaming, despite all the hype, and me included, I hyped them up a little bit too much as well. But to be honest, they really didn't show up today at all. Tyloo actually had put up a better showing against Renegades.
But the difference is as well is that from the first 2 days, both Australian teams have shown up today, haven't they? They've really, Immunity showed signs, I think, of how good they could be against Mongols. But Renegades were very lucky in many respects to get past Signature in that lower bracket match. They look totally different today.
Yeah, it is a long haul in this tournament. Remember, it's a tournament that takes multiple days, so it doesn't matter if you're good or bad in one day. As long as you scrape through, as long as you make it into the playoffs, you'll get that chance in a double elimination bracket to show your actual face. And Renegades definitely today they've shown up.
Yeah, and all across the team, you see them on screen right now. As a JKS, Astudo's had some great rounds as well. The new boys Nexa, solid enough.
Yeah.
Nifty has been playing absolutely incredibly in that last game. So if they can continue that, do they start as marginal favourites in this game?
Yeah, I definitely do. I do think so.
Is that based on what, experience?
Yeah, domestic matchups are always really tough to have. But then again, there's a bit of a difference here with this domestic matchup in the sense that Renegades don't play against their domestic opponents as often. Obviously, Chiefs did stomp Renegades earlier.
That was that might still be ranked in the back of the minds.
So I don't think they're going to be thinking about it too much. They've had a bunch of time to practice since. That was very much into them starting to play with this team as well. So judging from earlier today, if they can keep up what they've had going on, I think they'll definitely be the favorites going into this.
A massive chance for immunity here, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you look at, they haven't been in the major for a long time in the terms of the qualifier. I mean, it's what, 3 back, I think, since both of them qualified at the same time. So a massive opportunity for them.
Yeah, and for them, it's just an opportunity really to showcase, that those guys, they moved out of NA because, the level of Counter-Strike in Australia is not good enough. And these are the guys that were left behind.
Yep.
So, obviously they'll have extra motivation trying to prove a point. So, like I say, domestic battles, there's a bit of a mind game going on there, always.
Well, mind games in the vetoes, presumably, as well. Let's have a look and see what they've gone with. Immunity have removed Cobble, no surprise. Inferno removed by Renegades, and instead, the Renegades have gone for Nuke.
Fair enough.
And Immunity have gone for Train, okay, and we'll have Mirage if we need it. So
the good thing about these teams is that they have similarities in the map pool. So you're always going to have 3 maps that are not going to be heavily favoring one side. They both like to play them. It then comes out to the form of the day type of a thing. Yeah. And judging from what I've seen on Nuke from Renegades this tournament, actually, they were really crisp. They had a great T side, for example. And then when it comes to Train, Immunity is one of the better maps for them as well. So those 2 picks are pretty okay. And Mirage, I mean, both teams like to play Mirage as well. It's an even field in those terms.
If they can get Nifty going in either of those 2 opening maps, though, he could have a field day, couldn't he, on both those maps?
Yeah, but they have to contend against Born Are You Okay? Because he had a quiet game on Inferno today, but he just stepped up again and over. He just
His second game is incredible.
Yeah, that especially reminded me of yesterday when he just completely went ham on Mongol. So I think it's going to be a very interesting game, especially because Nuke is picked. Because whenever, I think, I'm not sure about all the map vetoes, but I think every time Renegades were banning against other teams, they always banned out Nuke. They never give Renegades opportunity to play on Nuke.
Do you think that's mostly because they don't play much Nuke, though?
Yeah, no Asian teams plays Nuke, apart from maybe Dreamscape from Singapore. That's probably the only team who plays Nuke in Asia. That's saying something.
Right.
So this is going to be interesting. Different maps. Train, we saw, I think, 1 or 2 trains so far. Haven't seen Nuke yet, so this is going to be definitely an interesting matchup.
Okay, very quickly, because we're going to have the casters in just a moment. Very quick predictions from either of you. Which way are you going?
You know what? I'm just going to go with them boys. 2-1 to Immunity.
Okay.
I think Renegades are 2-0 this.
Ooh, very divisive on the panel. Split decision here on the panel then between Immunity and Renegades. Let's find out what the commentators make of this one as we head into the upper bracket final.
Cheers, Paul. Yeah, quite divisive on the desk. Where do you come down with this, Thus? Who do you reckon is going to take this? Because I think it is a lot harder now that we've seen Immunity sweep aside Flash than we originally would have said. Nifty played so well earlier today that you'd have probably fancied them to take Immunity down had we have known the circumstances. But Immunity looked really good again.
Yeah, the maps really throw the curveball for me because I don't think that Immunity has ever played Train with Wizard. Not that I'm aware of, at least. So I think this will be kind of interesting. I know that the core of their lineup used to like to play a lot of Train, but again, just not something that that they have the familiarity with Wizard. And then for Renegades, it's not as if Train was like at the top of their map pool. I mean, I think that they were more towards Mirage and probably felt a little bit more comfortable playing like Cash and Cobble. They actually obviously like Nuke. We saw that against Signature and in the online scene in North America. So I think the Nuke pick's pretty solid. But the Train pick is kind of a mystery for me since I haven't seen Immunity play with Wizard. And maybe they're thinking they're picking a weakness against Renegades, which is fair, because, again, I don't think that's like towards the top of their map pool by any stretch of the imagination. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out on Train, to be quite honest.
So a lot of question marks then coming through into this first map. Of course, Train, somewhat of an AWPing paradise. You're expecting that if Nifty does have the same kind of form that saw Renegades get to this point against Tai Lu in the first place, that he could just take over this map. But Gratisfaction, who typically is AWPing for Immunity, is a very solid AWPer as well, as we have seen time and time again throughout the proceedings of this event. So I'm very much in the same position as you. If I had to be pressed, I would probably edge 2-1 to Renegades, but I think
it really boils down to what Renegades shows up. Is it the Renegades that we saw earlier today against Tai Lu that weren't really making any mistakes, that were playing really well as a unit? The decision-making was good. The teamwork was great. Obviously, they didn't win that first map on Mirage because just the fragging wasn't always there, but they obviously won the last 2 to make it here. And they looked night and day compared to the group stage where they really struggled, particularly getting crushed in that game versus Flash on Cobblestone. Even had some struggles against Signature. Almost got eliminated in the group stage. I mean, they lost that first map. It was definitely a little bit tight, whereas I feel like Immunity have at times, looked a little bit stronger. I also feel like, when you looked at Renegades earlier today, it felt like they were a bit more top-heavy. Like Nifty was obviously really flexing those guns all around, like really making things happen. I think Azza also was big, particularly in the overtime that they won on that third map on Overpass to make it here. here. Whereas Immunity, it felt like it was a little bit more equal distribution on who was performing. You know, at times you had Wizard, who looked excellent, especially in clutch situations, and was definitely putting in his numbers. But then you had Moe playing pretty clutch. He had some big numbers as well. Burn obviously had a map where he was considered the MVP. So it seemed a little bit more spread out as far as who was really putting forth the effort to get production going when it came to Immunity.
Well, that's enough natter about predictions. Let's get into the game itself and find out how this is going to come down. First round of this best of 3. Of course, the winner will be progressing across to the qualifiers for the major. We are going to have Aussies taking part. The question is, which of these 2 teams will be moving through? Pretty standard stuff in terms of the setup. Nothing's really catching my eye. Nexa has himself a kit. Nifty, very aggressive. Up through Ivy is going to claim the kill onto Wizard, and that's going to shut down that side of the map for Immunity.
Yeah, it gets them a lot of information. They still have to worry about ladder, and this is going to be very tricky to deal with as a CT with the different things that you can do as a terrace down ladder, you know, grenade pin noises, different things like that that you can kind of just fumble around with CTs with. But the CTs, again, because of the pin noise, you can actually like time your peaks really well. But they're just going to flood down one by one, just giving Azza all the chances in the world to get kills. He only gets 1, though, so at least a decent trade. But Immunity's still a man down, trying to see if they can split this outer yard. You do have Ustillo posted up here in the back, watching them come out ladder room.
This is where having no one pushing through Ivy is going to make things a lot easier for the Renegades, but they are losing more players. Oh, there's a team kill as well as Nexa gets domed by JKS. And the blink of an eye, it's a 1-on-3. JKS isn't going to clutch it either. Comedy of errors will cost Renegades the first round, even though they posted up the first kill.
Yeah, that really hurts. The team kill also is going to be pretty big. Also, considering Acid seemed like he had a chance to get more frags from just one in the ladder room. So there's a couple of different things that kind of went wrong, despite the fact that Nifty got them the instant 5-on-4. So, you know, good response from Immunity. A couple of mishaps from Renegades. Hopefully they'll put that aside, though. Again, they played a great series later today. It didn't look sloppy at all. Hopefully that doesn't come out here as Immunity. Well, go ahead and get those UMPs out. AK and a Galil. A lot of utility as well, of course. Full armor. You will see Renegades forcing up a bit. Nifty, obviously not a part of that, as he wants to save to get that AWP as soon as possible.
Oh, as they're just darting, using the door as a barricade. Nothing really ventured by either team. Now we're going to see Cast going in first for his team. Nexa may be able to thread a couple of headshots, and he's going to do just that. And he's actually going to get a third, turning this round in the favor of Renegades with 3 beautiful one-taps, making a 4th. Unreal plays by Nexa. Is he going to get the ace? Yes, he is! Oh my goodness. What a play. The Deagle, all he needed.
I got nothing. I don't think there's really much for me to analyze there. I think it spoke for itself, really.
I mean, ultimately, Nexa just gave him that Serbian sausage. That's all you can say.
Oh, man. If it's anything like the Romanian sausage we ate yesterday for dinner, it's pretty good.
I think in this case, it's not good, mate.
Okay.
I don't think this is the kind of sausage
It's good for him, okay? Like, it's good for somebody. It depends on what perspective you angle yourself from.
Fair
okay?
enough. All a matter of perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. As that's definitely a big slap in the face. I'm done. I'm done. That was a great play from Nexa. What can you say? Great individual effort. Obviously, Immunity, you know, feeling pretty poor about that. Probably shouldn't have let that happen. You got to trade efficiently there. But it's always fun to see big plays, big aces. Obviously, Nifty had an ace earlier today on Cash. That was brilliant. So Nexa now trying to see if he can't, you know, get on the ace board as well. And that means that we're actually going to see Immunity concede. That's important to point out because a lot of teams would just keep force buying in this situation, wouldn't they, right? You know, just keep trading back and forth, you know, have that economic, you know, scrappy start, playing that chicken game. But they're going to concede right away. Take a more conservative approach, save up their money.
I can see, considering that Renegades did lose the pistol, they're in great shape now. With Immunity tapping out. Why no part of this? Still a Deagle in the hands of Wizard. Maybe he can return the favor, or perhaps not, as Stillo won't afford him the opportunity to. Nade at the back of the site, doesn't do any damage. A bomb plant, honestly, is pretty solid for Immunity. They're not going to be able to get it done from here. Burn, Ayoka only has a Glock, and it's just not going to do anything. But a bomb plant is going to bolster their buy into the next round.
Yeah, they definitely could, particularly because they full save this round as well, so they have plenty of money coming in there. That's for sure. Just a quick little fun fact, the last time Renegades and Immunity played against one another, or at least the brands Renegades and Immunity played against each other, was actually over a year ago. It was at the other PGL, Kespa Regional Minor. The only players that are still around from that game is going to be Moe on the Immunity side. No one else from the team then still remains. And then for Renegades, obviously, the core of JKS, Hustil, and Azza are still here. That was a win for Renegades. But again, they obviously don't face off much because Renegades has been living in North America, right? There's been a lot of roster changes since then. But just a little bit of a fun fact if you were curious when the last time these two brands faced one another. As we are seeing Immunity here, spread out into a default with their guns. They like to play default a lot from watching their demos. Really like to display a slower style. They will put in some pacing changes for each side, sure. That's really been the case for Immunity throughout their map pool, having like a very balanced playbook of being able to play methodical defaults as well as, you know, kicking things up a notch with some aggressive play at times. As we are going to see, you know, Burn just clearing out the inner halls, but everyone else is kind of, you know, in a holding pattern, really.
Very apt description. Holding pattern, certainly the case. Neither team really wanting to budge for the time being. Azza is good for 2 kills. This is where the UMP really shines. I'm surprised they dropped one after the other without any flashes, anything really preceding them. So a bit of a poor play from Immunity, and looks like they are going to get punished handedly. Nifty has spotted a couple of heads. He's going to try and take them down, and indeed he shall. Only one casualty. We're still out. Can easily replenish his weapon. Immunity, they're going to have to be better than that if they're going to push down Pop Dog against Azza. He will punish you.
Yeah, I mean, this seems a little bit disjointed, just kind of dropping down one by one, no pop flash, nothing to really deter Azzer from just holding the angle and just waiting. I mean, you have to come down the ladder and hit the floor. That gives Azzer time to get bullets off before you're going to be in a position where you can pop off an accurate shot, which is why you usually want to use some type of utility to make sure you can actually get down ladder safely. That doesn't happen there. So, I mean, that's just easy pickings for Azza, really. Now we have basically a deco from Immunity, 4 deeks on the board, no armor, no utility behind it, so they're just looking for straight duels and hoping for the best. As JKS, the normal inner anchor player for Renegades, will go ahead and throw some utility down to deter any type of faster play down the ramp. He even already has a rotation as well from one of his teammates. It's going to be Nexa with the UMP to help him along. Meanwhile, Aircast does pop off a 1D off camera, so that's going to be man advantage, but has a quick to trade it right back.
As Renegade showed earlier on, in the hands of Nexa, a Deagle really can still be a nightmare to play against, but with the quick retaliation, looks like Renegades have steadied themselves into this round. Bomb still dropped towards the T-spawn.
That's crispy.
They talk about his one-taps. JKS destroying a burn. And looks like this round is just going to kind of whimper away from Immunity's perspective. It's going to have to come down to one of those deagles.
It's almost like a Suedo timeout. Like, you mean, you're not actually taking a timeout, but you know you're probably not going to get too much in this round. You know, you're just looking for deagle picks. Yeah, sure, if you get some, maybe it works out, but also just trying to, you know, maybe talk about things a little bit. Obviously not too much staked into this round, as it looks like Renegades will go ahead and start cleaning it up there. So it will be a 4-1 lead for Renegades, so they're off to a brilliant start here on the CT side of Immunity's map pick. Let's remember that. But now they'll be back onto a full buy. Full AKs out, a lot of utility. And so we'll see what type of execute they might want to run here in this situation. Again, they have some good set pieces in their playbook. They can break out, like mass utility hits on either site. So now that they have that full purchase, that is definitely an option.
Well, we shall see if they're going to dip in and bring one of those strats out and play. It looks like it's going to be a much faster attack this time around. Nexa is holding the angle from a passive position. Azza, pardon me, is going to come in with 2 of his own. And Urkast's going to fall an incredibly fast round that completely backfiring for Immunity. No bomb plant, only 2 kills. No problems for Renegades.
Yeah, I don't know if like a smoke missed or something weird kind of happened, because it felt like the player playing Z for Renegades was able to just kind of freely peek players crossing by E-Box and ladder without like any smoke or utility in his face. So that seemed to be something that was a little bit left open. It was a couple of easy kills for Renegades to help shut down that outer take. Good to see Immunity trying something a bit faster paced, a little bit more heavy utility usage, as we were talking about, but just wasn't successful in getting the entries that they needed there. And so now they will be back on to just upgraded pistols, as we see Burn actually successfully making it down ladder, something that Immunity hasn't always been able to do. Either Nexus Deagle or has been pretty brutal, and they've tried to get some control here, but they have it. And everyone else is waiting outside T-Con, so it seems like they're just kind of biding their time. As they do have 3 smokes for that standard smoke wall on Bomb Train, and maybe they just try to go for a plan off the back of that would be what I feel like will probably happen.
Yeah, it's looking likely, judging from their positions right now. It's going to be waiting until the call. Split up defense, but looking pretty good. Multiple angles too from Renegades. They're being flashed out. There's a slight gap in the smoke, and that's going to allow Nexa to spray through that and claim the kill onto Burn. Are you okay? Moe's also going to fall by the wayside, and Immunity may very well get the bomb plant, but it's not going to be the round afterwards, surely. There goes the bomb. Here comes Stillo and his USP. Hungry for a headshot. It's actually going to land it into the chest instead. And Urkast and his Tech 9 in such a tenuous position. That's actually a team kill. Nifty.
Was it a collat team kill?
A good old 2-for-1, but not the kind that you really hope for.
Not really the 2-for-1 deal you're really hoping for, and that is for sure. But at least it was mission accomplished for Immunity to get the bomb plant, right? That was the main objective there. The chances of winning the round pretty slim. They'll have Gratisfaction on the AWP for the first time. So we'll see what he can do if they slow things down, give him a chance to try to find a pick at T-Con or Ivy or just what have you. Nifty, again, a very dynamic opper. He could be all over the place. We've seen him pick inner. Obviously, he likes to play from Ivy a lot. Usually it's kind of his home base, but you definitely can see him change it up a lot. And that's one of the key things that helped him out in that series earlier, which is being a nuisance all across the map, and this will be no exception. He'll take the lower peak, actually, while he has JKS, the normal inner player, up top. So a bit of a crossfire here from Renegades to challenge inner halls, and JKS will get the frag after Nifty gets the tag on Burn. And he's at 0-8 right now, by the way. He's having a very slow start this game individually.
Yeah, it's been a real up and down day for him because, I mean, in Inferno, he was very absent, had a poor showing. Then, as you highlighted in the previous map, he actually got the MVP. Yep. And now he's back to quite a low state of affairs. What I will say is typically he seems to shine on the CT side, so maybe when he gets through on the T side, the CT side of Train, that's where we're going to see him really step up a few levels and be the very capable player we know he has the potential to be. Nifty, though, be claiming the first. Didn't actually pull the trigger on that shot. Molotov may have been slightly skewing his vision. We'll get it on the second time of asking, as Moe was just sat there waiting for him. Urkast is going to very much meet the same demise, but to the hands of Azza instead. And our Wizard in Ivy is going to get flashed. It's important they don't lose too many players from this. Sure, they have a big lead, Renegades, but the CT side is always going to be quite vulnerable. Timeout called by what I assume would be Immunity. Yeah,
you would imagine so. This is starting to spot out of control for them. And just another great play from Nifty. I mean, he had such a brilliant series earlier today to get them here. And then that round, I mean, he holds an angle, gets a peek, even peeks into Moe, who has the angle on him, so he's winning these op-on-op battles. Also was able to get some damage in over in inner halls earlier on to help JKS find a frag to shut down the inner portion of that attack. So pretty great stuff here from him. We'll get to watch it again. This is just straight up holding an angle. And then he goes for a more difficult shot against Moe here, jump peeking in and lands it. So great exchange from him.
Well, looks like it may very well be a technical timeout too, as a player.
Apparently his PC couldn't handle that.
Yep.
But now he's right back in.
Well, I mean, Nifty basically broke the stream earlier as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he broke the power at our studio. That ace on cash.
10K to use. I would assume he's going for the AWP. Be surprised if he didn't.
Certainly would expect him to. I'm curious if what he'll do now. We've seen him pick upper inner. We've seen him hold lower ramp. We've seen him just playing straight up Z. So, again, he's definitely been all over the place, and it's good to see that. Keep his opponent guessing where it's going to be, especially when he's having an impact. I mean, he's 7-1, so when you're getting a bunch of kills across the board and it's all over the place, Azza's done well, particularly over at Ladder Room. Obviously, Nexa, outside of the ace, he hasn't had to do a whole lot, but that certainly was a big round that reset Immunity's economy and got things going for Renegades early on. And for Immunity, I'm just kind of curious, what's left in the tank here. They have plenty of money to, buy up on the remaining 3 players who haven't made a purchase yet. And again, they have a pretty good balance about how they approach the game. We've already seen them just play slower defaults and look for picks. That hasn't really worked yet. They tried a faster outer play. They got absolutely shut down. They didn't get any entries off the back of that. The only thing we really haven't seen them do yet is like just kind of like some type of heavy utility enter hit. I know they have a couple of those that they have, with like your smokes on sidewalk and your mollies on the bomb train and, you know, all that good stuff. You know, even they like to push heavy numbers out of upper, like, you know, 3 or so guys, like just really try to trade frag their way out of the upper side of things. So maybe that's something they haven't tried yet they could go to, or maybe they go back to a heavy outer hit. Maybe even though the first one didn't work out, maybe they can make an adjustment, tweak something, make sure it goes off a little bit better the next time around. You know, something has to give here, though, because they're running out of rounds to get something going in this half.
Yeah, I mean, on their choice of map as well. A map that they will be hungry to get a great start on.
Solid. It's also important to point out, again, we talked about this before the game started, that this is the first time that Immunity has played the map with Wizard. And so that they pick the map in a situation like this where on the line right now is a guaranteed spot to the major, you know, obviously carries the reward of guaranteeing yourself some prize money, right? So there's a lot on the line in this game, and to go into a train pick does seem a bit of a dice roll, doesn't it?
At a game of this magnitude, yeah, sure. I definitely agree with that. I've already mentioned Burn, Are You Okay? Collectively, just 1 kill between the two of them. I mean, overall on Immunity, they have currently 11, which is exceptionally poor. In terms of how many kills they've been getting. And considering the cooks, I should say, that Renegades have had with team kills, JKS got a team kill in the pistol round, Nifty got an AWP team kill, one of his mates as well. So, I mean, Immunity have just been getting very little going their way. Not even kills really been coming down for them.
No, I mean, you got one guy on 0 kills, you got Wizard with just 1, and both of those guys at different points of time have been MVPs for Immunity in the previous series. So, a team that has been credited with being able to fire on all cylinders and have good production from the full lineup, equal frag distribution in the best of ways, not everyone doing poorly, right? Everyone, you know, pitching in. So it does really hurt to see a lot of them struggling. Really no one has stepped up to the plate and made a big play to get things rolling for Immunity. Maybe that's what it'll take. Maybe hopefully here soon we can see someone pop off, have a big multi-frag round, and kind of kick them into gear.
So, looks like we are about to get underway again, as the server has been corrected with the amounts. Obviously, with Nifty dropping, he actually lost a fair amount of his finances. So, as expected, he's gone in for the AWP. Immunity, 4 AKs, 1 UMP. Let's have a look if anything is going to change. You highlighted we may see more inner hits. Let's see if that's the case right here, right now.
I mean, they have a pretty good buy about them. I mean, yeah, Gratisfaction on the UMP, a little bit limited. They don't have all the utility, but they still have plenty to run some type of execute. And it seems like we see a lot towards T-Connector, maybe looking to split outer all 3 ways, so to speak.
So nothing really changed from my perspective, at least from Unity. This seems very similar and reminiscent of what we saw in the last 8 rounds. Let's see if the execution is a little bit more crisp this time around. Smoke onto Connector. Gonna look to push behind that, but Nifty's already in position. He's gonna land it onto Moe. A horrible start again for Immunity, and the first 4 kills have all gone the way for the Renegades. Urcast is able to force his way through onto the green train. There's a smoke in his eyes, there's gunfire all around him, and to make matters worse, he's been spotted and fragged. The pause has done nothing for Immunity.
I mean, look at how much money Renegades has. It's unreal. You got JKS at 16K. He's still not too far behind. It's going to take for, like, Immunity will probably never force Renegades to save for the rest of this half. It'll never happen. Like, they're going to be playing against full guns, full utility, maybe even multiple AWPs at some point if Renegades feels the need to go to that. So they're going to be playing on hard mode for the rest of the half. Worst part, now you're on a force buy round. That's probably even more money going to Renegades' pockets if they can win another clean round, not fall prey to a Deagle pick or some type of close-range Tech 9 effort from Wizard. So, I mean, the odds are just piling against Immunity right now. This has been one of the most dominant halves of CS we've probably seen this tournament thus far.
Yeah, I mean, as I highlighted, because Immunity only got 11 kills and we're now in round 10, that makes for averaging just over 1 kill a round. So Renegades are fine with that. Fair enough, the Deagles are coming back in again, though. This time, they're going to be working against Renegades. Nexa lives by a sword and very much dies by it, but Nifty is still alive.
Oh,
Not
man.
able to get anything done, though, as he gets caught from the side. JKS has already picked up 1. Going to have to go 3 better. The good news for him, it's a couple Deagles in the AK. Bad news is he's been spotted, and that bomb's now transitioning across to A. And with Immunity having a minute to play with, they don't have to rush anything just yet.
They just won a bunch of one-on-one duels with Deagles. I mean, you can't really fault Renegades. They just held angles and got outshot by a Deagle. I mean, it's just finally Immunity winning some duels, and maybe a round you don't expect it as much because they didn't really have a whole lot. But it works. So it's a second round on the board. Obviously, JKS will just go for damage. He doesn't need to save the gun. He's got plenty of cash. Doesn't find anything, though. So Immunity will roll over 3 AKs. Finally get a little bit of bank on their side. But, I mean, easy for Renegades to rebuy up in this round.
The thing is, though, a lot of those opening picks came off the result of 1D. So when you have the AKs in, are they going to be able to make the AKs and the AWP work? If not, they're going to get reset. They're going to be in trouble. But because they won that round actually off the Eagles, 3 players have 4.5k, so they'll be able to buy again next round even if they do lose this.
It's true, but they just haven't found something that consistently works for them. I mean, that's one of those rounds where how do you recreate that formula of just finding the Eagle picks, and this Nifty, again, found in a new spot, gets the opening pick on Burn, Are You Okay? He's really been on point with that AWP. And so now Immunity have to immediately work from a man behind. Again, just spread out playing default, trying to work T-Connector, but you still just pushes up with his teammate. And they're just going to bully them inside of here. That's Ustilo with another frag, and the good times keep rolling for Renegades.
Moe and Wizard, though, may have something to say about that. Again, time is on their side. Bombs drop towards the T-spawn, which isn't ideal, but at least they're not under any great pressure to get there just yet. Still up on green train, has some help to his right-hand side. That's going to be JKS, who's on the bomb train itself. Moe is trying to tap across to his teammate. There's going to be some words exchanged, but at least Ustilo gets the avenging kill. Now, Wizard at 1-on-2. We've seen him clutch a bunch of these over the duration of this event. Just in the previous game against Flash, he pulled off a couple on Inferno.
Yeah, he's got a lot of time to play with. He has the bomb in his possession. He's got some utility. He has head armor, AK, full HP. So he has, I mean, that's about as ideal as it gets for a 1v2, I suppose. But trying to break in is going to be difficult here. Renegades holding good spots.
Yep, that's the key thing, is that Renegades are in good position to defend this off for Nifty. Looks around just at the perfect time. He was originally looking in Pop Dog, decided to change his vision, and will pick up the kill.
This is just aggression from Renegades. I mean, you had Nifty getting aggressive with the peek and inner halls. You got Ustilo and company playing up close on T-connector. So you're just kind of suffocating Immunity at that point. You're not giving them any breathing room. You're not giving them any space for free. And you're disrupting them. If they're trying to set up something, you're just getting in their face in the middle of it. So really liking that Renegades are putting the pressure on Immunity early in rounds, not letting up at all, just being relentless in their pursuit to chime off a big half, and it seems to be going in that direction. We do see Immunity buying up what they can here, trying to put a little bit more emphasis on Ivy this time, but they've been blocked off as they still just continue to kind of play a little bit default.
But Are You Okay? Gets tagged actually from Nifty's shot, I believe that was, but partially through the wall, so he's down to 47 as opposed to an outright kill. As expected, Immunity have gone for another force, including 2 Tech 9s. Still have 4 smokes, though. We know that they do like to try these set plays. With 3 players maneuvering their way onto box halls, it looks like it could be a B hit. We haven't seen too many of them from Immunity, just in a pistol round, I believe it was.
Not one, yeah. We haven't really seen a set piece on inner. A lot of the time they've been picked apart as they try to take peeks into inner, to be fair. So this time they at least get to gather up all 5, let out the utility, and see what they can do.
JKS at the back of the site is being burnt. Has to move back into the open again. They're going to try and get onto the site, but JKS with the spray is on point, and Nifty is picking off players on the catwalk at the same time. It seems to be crumbling once again. Nifty's good for yet another one. He's already got 3 in this round. He'll be hungry for a 4th. Satisfaction will go for the peak. He's down to 12, and it's Ustilo that puts the final nail in the coffin of round 12. Immunity tried a B hit, and they got completely repelled.
I feel like they've tried almost everything they've got at this point. I mean, they've tried set pieces on both sides. They've tried to take it slow. They tried, you know, pacing changes, attacking within the first 20 seconds of the round. You know, and there's just nothing there for them. They're not getting any entries. I mean, look at that inner hit. I mean, they had all the utility in the proper places. They at least were able to gather up and hit something together as opposed to getting picked apart by aggressive plays from Renegades early in the round. Yet they just can't connect the shots to actually break through into inner. it's not even like Renegades have to play for a retake either. They can just stay up front and take those fights in inner halls. You see a lot of teams will just kind of put themselves in a position where, yeah, maybe you can see the bomb plant, but you're set up for the retake. But, you know, not there. They just straight up dominated. And now another low buy for Immunity. Don't think JKS meant to do that. Well, it still works out.
Still does the trick. Blocking off ramp. Did look a little bit awkward, though, to be fair. 2 Deagles. We have seen Immunity pull off one of their 2 rounds with Deags. Bomb's going to get planted. I don't think Renegades really give too much of a damn about that at this stage of the half. It's about the retake. That's all that's on their mind. Burning to a crisp is Granite's faction. Forced out into the open. Azza plucks him with a headshot. Swept aside for this round. On the site, they will find Burn, are you okay? And if they push into the ramp itself, Nex is going to get himself another one. Wizard goes down, no casualties once again. Sure, Immunity get the bomb plant, but that's no longer good enough.
Yeah,
You've got to start converting.
I mean, yeah, sure, it gives you money for the next round. That's all great, but now you need to start winning this round. Like, you have to win out to even have a chance, I feel like, at this point. Sure, the map usually considered fairly CT-sided, but not as much as it used to be on this edition of the map. And, I mean, especially with this being Immunity's map pick, you'd expect them to have some confidence in their T side, knowing that they would probably start there, given the rules on how it works with map pick ban and who gets to choose side and all that good stuff. Yet, there's just been nothing there for them. Try a fast outer play once more.
But they're off on their own. Azza's able to pluck 2 players out just by himself with an M4. There's no avenging frag until Wizard finally shows up. He's going to get himself a second. He's down to 1, though. And he's going to actually get himself a 3rd. So this round is starting to shape up as Nifty through the smoke gets the drop onto Gratis faction, but Immunity have done it. It started so rough with Azza just taking down players, but they somehow stabilized.
Yeah, they don't let it spiral out of control. Sure, letting Azza get 2 instead of just 1 hurts a little bit, but the fact that Wizard and company were able to trade back, it's something we just haven't seen at any point else throughout this half. Any other situation like that, you saw Renegades just straight up, you know, rolling through. I mean, look at the scoreboard, look at the frag counts between the 2 teams, and the story really tells itself. But for that one round, that one moment in time, Immunity were able to efficiently handle the forward positions of Renegades and put another round on the board. Now it's last round of the half. The hope to at least get to 4 before we switch sides, make it a bit more possible to come back. But Azza, again, wreaking havoc in the ladder room.
Azza with a second. All Nifty has to do is lay in wait. Going to throw a smoke out into T-main. This could force some aggression from Immunity, who will be feeling desperate to get kills. Satisfaction can see over the smoke, no longer as a flashbang. Will take that vision away and impair him. Bomb dropped in T-main is going to be able to get reclaimed at any point that Immunity want. Double stack in Ivy. Distillo's going to see action more than likely. Smoke and a Molotov go past him. Going to go in for the trade, and Urcast is going to land the headshot. So at the very least, they're starting to put some pressure, apply some pressure on the Ivy side of the map. Could this be the opening that Immunity need? It's looking likely. Nifty uncharacteristically misses the shot. That's going to cost him his life. A crucial misfire. Immunity now have every chance to maybe clutch this round out. Back into a 2-on-2. JKS is still alive and kicking. Gonna bang himself a second frag on top of it. And Nurcast, who is low, is no longer on the battlefield as Renegades take the last round of the half and end it 12-3. Domination on that CT side.
Yeah, I mean, you thought there was some hope there. Aircast was making some plays happen. He was having a good individual round, getting out of Ivy and getting some entries. You know, but again, like, how many times was he able to get, you know, at least 2 frags up close on ladder room or E-box or something like that throughout that half? It seemed like every time he got challenged, he delivered. And then you have JKS coming with a big clutch. I mean, just the individual efforts of the guys over at Renegades, and it was really everyone at some point was coming with a big play. You know, it hurts to see it. I mean, you even look at the scoreboard and you see someone towards the bottom, I mean, still making plays at some point. Meanwhile, again, Immunity just never had anything consistently going for them. They had one round where they traded well outer that they won, and you know, a couple of more spread in there, but that's really about it. Not much to talk about, to be honest.
Very true. We are now live into the second pistol round. Burn, are you okay? Well, chime off with the first is making a bit of a name for himself as quite the USP player as well, but are you okay? But he's only going to be able to get one in this round. Bomb going to get planted. Whatever happens, Renegades have options going through, but of course they're going to want to convert that into another round and put 1 foot closer to taking map 1 of the upper bracket finals. Nade does get traded off. Moe and Urcast need to try and push their way onto the site. They do have a kit. They're going to be looking to smoke and then go for the defuse, and that's a pretty tasty one-tap by Urcast. Now JKS is trying to spam his way up through the smoke, lands it onto Moe, and now he is in prime position to strike. Urcast going to hold down the defuse. JKS not like this. 1 second, and he's going to miss the knife, and Immunity will get the defuse. But all things considered, Immunity still have a huge task ahead of them.
Yeah, it definitely helped the 2 main players from Unity did have the kit, but they both didn't have armor, so I was a bit concerned that they were going to, get wrecked in duels with aim punch and all that good stuff, as well as just being easier targets with no armor, right? It's kind of free pickings at that point. But again, you had these awkward moments that happen sometimes where a diffuse goes inside the smoke. Maybe you don't exactly know how he's angled while he's diffusing. It's either your bullets are going to connect to the smoke or they're not. Like, unfortunately, sometimes a round just comes down to that. And fortunately for Immunity, they're on the victorious side of it, which means hopefully they can get something going. And Renegades, with that bomb plant, will just do a full Glock save, except for JKS, who got armor. That's a little bit odd.
Very odd. Armor but with no upgraded pistol.
Wait, didn't he just have that from the last round, though? Because he won the 1v1 duel?
Yeah,
and he didn't die to the bomb. Yeah, never mind. So, full save from Renegades. Obviously wanting to get a full buy in the next round.
Yeah, he did get the kill at the end, so he did survive through the first round, so definitely correct ourselves on that one. But the rest of them with full-on Glocks, meaning AKs, are on the horizon. And that could be an issue for Immunity if they take this round out and keep 4 UMPs against AK-47s. Renegades may try and get the long-range confrontations going in their favor. Looks like it's going to be a waterfall out onto B. Burn, are you okay? Should be favorite to just clean everybody up by himself. And he won't quite pull it off, but 3 kills is a solid effort. And now this also allows him to trade out into an M4 instead. That Renegades will have full AKs.
Yeah, this is the moment we were really waiting for. And again, on their T side, they're kind of similar to Immunity in the sense that they can play a lot of default spreads and try to work picks with Nifty's AWP. But in a round like this, they aren't going to have an AWP on Nifty, are they? But they definitely have some good execs in their own accord. Also, one of the things you never saw Immunity do that Renegades will do at times is they love to play triple Ivy setups. They love to be like really heavy at Ivy and just try to, make a lot of presence there for a piece of their outer execute. But this time around, they're just, spread out, trying to feel out Immunity's defense a little bit, it seems like. Nothing too tricky, just your standard stuff. As Nifty watches for Ivy push, which there was one, by the way. We do see, I believe that's Aircast out there. They might meet up in just a moment, actually.
Yeah, of course. That's talking about on the Ivy side of the map.
Oh, they just missed each other.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that was possible. Obviously, we didn't see from that perspective. Maybe there's a smoke down or a flash or something, but it looked like they were looking right at each other at one stage.
Might have just missed the angle. I mean, every time that Nifty got a little bit closer, he started to backpedal a little bit, so I think it was just maybe a second off from facing one another. As again, Renegades just taking it nice and slow. They have plenty of smokes to do, like a typical outer execute. They could even gather inner halls, do the same thing over there. So still unknown to us what the intention is. As we do see the bomb picked up here by Nifty. They do begin to gather up over here towards T-Connector.
Oh, that is exquisite play by Wizard, getting the double kill. Actually turned his back as well just beforehand. Nifty comes back with 2 of his own, though. And this is where I was talking about the long range of the AK trumping over the UMPs. To make matters worse, Nex is able to get himself round the side and flank Moe. Bomb about to be planted. Burn, are you okay? Has been isolated by the smoke, but that now is going to clear. Just in time for the bomb to finally be placed in position. Urcast is his partner in crime. Got plenty of utility between the 2 of them and a kit. So this round may not be out of the realms of possibility yet, but Nifty is making it that much more difficult with his 3rd kill. E-box. Burn, are you okay? Seems to assume someone is, and that would be the correct assumption, but there's another 2 players to find. He does pluck out Nifty, which is a pretty handy shot, but the strength in numbers. Renegades pick up a 13-5 lead. Yeah,
I mean, you lose a 3 versus 5 right there. I mean, they had the 2 kills at ladder room, but Nifty's showing you can even make plays without an op. He can do it with the AK as well, as he gets those nice entries onto outer to turn the ties of the round, put Renegades at 13. and put Immunity in a really bad way when it comes to their money. And you look at this round, you have Moe on a USP, the Deagle armor on Burn. Oh, he does get a UMP. Never mind. Right there at the end, he buys up. But if they lose this, they're basically have no money, and that's like free map point for Renegades at that point. I mean, it's like force buys to survive for Immunity, not a place you want to be in as a CT.
And this hyper-aggressive push once again is going to see JKS this time jump up on top of the blue train and clean up. Urkas with 2 of his own is keeping the dream alive. But now he must dream alone with 39 health. The smoke is actually keeping him alive for a little while longer. Allows him to relocate on top of the green train. JKS is going to see him in midair. Goes to Clay Pigeon shooting. A 4K for JKS. Very nicely done. And then, as you highlighted, Dust, correctly, the money for Immunity is looking like it's in a shambles.
It's in the bin.
Yep, it sure is. But doesn't look like they're going to go for the force. They're going to play for the overtime instead.
I mean, they can't really buy anything this round anyway, even if they wanted to. So I guess you might as well just go ahead and save everything and just go for it all in the next round as just another player steps up and makes a big play for Renegades. This time it's JKS. Last time it was Nifty with the hat trick. Now it's JKS with the quad kills. So again, you're getting great production from the entire Renegades lineup. As it is just P250s and company, as Nifty will go ahead and keep the stats rolling with this AK. 2 entries already, spots another player. As they're catching one rotating. And of course, this round was always going to be this way, wasn't it? Not much here for Immunity, as Renegades will go to map point.
Yep, this was pretty much a formality of a round. Nifty padding his stats with another 4 kills. 10 map points on Immunity's choice of map. That must be mentioned. They picked Train, and they have been decimated. And what surprises me the most, more than anything else, is Gratisfaction, typically the AWPer for Immunity, a very good player. He's on 3 for 18. He's had no impact whatsoever on this map. And again, Train is a map where you expect to see your AWPers shine. I mean, Nifty's been having a hell of a job.
Yeah, to be fair, he hasn't had it a whole lot. Money's always been tough on them. So he hasn't really had that many cracks with the AWP. But still, you got to find a way to have an impact. And really, no one stepped up for Immunity, if we're honest. Like, yeah, he might be at the bottom. It's not like anyone's really, like, shined or something like that. As now they must put 10 in a row to make this map into overtime to give themselves still somewhat of a chance. But the way things have played out, you don't like their chances, as we do see Renegades again gathering up towards inner halls. Nades being thrown towards outer as a fake, I would imagine, to pull that rotation. They're looking to spill out of upper, and here we go. Great entry from Ustilla on the burn. They got exactly what they wanted out of that utility dump in the outer bomb site.
Beginning of the end, surely for Train. Great shot by Ustilla. Landing into the head of Urkast. Moe's going to be flanking back through connector to join his teammate of Gratisfaction, Wizard on the flank. Nifty connects another headshot. As you say, typically it's going to be in there for the AWPing, but now he's going to go for the double spray. Nexa takes one of them away, and Renegades will take a 16-5 win in the end. Nifty, great performance, but everyone on Renegades,
yeah, doing it all. In-game leading, making big plays with the AWP on the first half. Second half, he had big entry rounds with the AK, so he's definitely going to have to be one of the big candidates for the MVP for this map if we had to had to consider all the options. And again, there's not too much to recap there. I mean, Immunity just didn't have much to speak of. You know, in that last round, we saw Renegades just run a pretty simple fake, and it pulled a massive rotation, really isolated inner, and they were able to get the entry, you know, straight away, no real challenge. So, and then the whole first half was just domination from the Renegades on the CT side. Immunity never could find anything that consistently worked for them. And it's not like they didn't try different things. I felt like they really did turn all the pages of their playbook. They tried executes at different speeds on both sides. They tried playing default. They just were never really getting things going. I mean, they had like one fortunate Deagle pick round that they won, so that wasn't even like a normal round. It's kind of like a crazy outlier. And then they had that one outer push that actually worked. And outside of that, there just wasn't much there. But now we'll get to hear what the desk has to say. So, Paul, you know, is there anything there for us?
It's a good question, isn't it? Let's find out from our expert panel what they made of that one, because it was a dominant performance from the Renegades team this time round. They take a 1-0 lead in this upper bracket final. Reminder for you at home as well, the winner of this game guaranteed a place in the offline final qualifier. So big reward for the winners. Blair, what do you make of that? A great performance from Nifty yet again, and Nexa with another ace in there. Seemingly these two boys are doing really well.
So basically NA and EU telling us Asians how it's done, which is kind of ironic, if you ask me. But Train, right? When we saw Train being picked up, I think most of us assumed that Immunity are like, you know, it's a domestic matchup. We've seen some crazy stuff happen whenever you see two teams from the same region playing, but then maybe they bit off a little bit more than they could chew because Renegades just came up on fire. Yeah, they lost pistol round, but Nexa, getting the Deagle ace kind of just completely turned things around.
And it's an interesting question. It's probably easier to answer afterwards, Natu, isn't it? In the sense that you kind of look and go, why did they pick Train? It's easy afterwards asking that question.
Yeah.
Because they haven't played a public official with Wizard on this map either. So afterwards we kind of question it. Is it still a valid question?
There's always overthinking in a play, especially in domestic matchups easily. It could be a case of just them feeling that untrained they'll have a good crack at it. Maybe they've watched Renegades on it, felt like there's something there that they could exploit. Like Dust was saying, they really did pull all the stops on that T sides. They tried a lot of different paces, different kind of executes, both bomb sides, this and that. But I think what really was missing for them was the fact that they could never really get the first punch in.
Yeah.
As in, they would never be able to get the kill that would then create some kind of a gap towards the bomb side, a lane open towards the other bomb side, for example, which would then make it uncomfortable for the rest of the CTs. Instead of Azur, it was pretty much all of them always getting either 1 or 2 kills in the initial phase of those pushes, which then would totally kill that round for Immunity.
Yeah, we saw some pretty special stuff in there as well. As they had a couple of one-taps, and there was a beautiful one on the first half, actually, from JKS. Inside, very nonchalant, wasn't it? He sort of just aimed up there, fired one bullet, and immediately turned away as if he knew he was going to get the headshot.
And then never went to the inner bomb side ever again.
No, they didn't, actually. He was on like 3 kills after about 10 rounds, but he had about 13k in money, and he'd only had 2 deaths. Yeah, it scared the living crap out of them. They definitely didn't want to go anywhere near that bomb site. But, I mean, how do Immunity bounce back now that we're moving on to Nuke, which you look at normally and you go, Renegades strong there, they should do well.
I honestly don't see them taking Nuke. They needed to win Train, and now on hindsight, like we said, we thought probably they might have been like, it's Train, it's a domestic matchup, we probably have a couple of tricks up the sleeve, but didn't pan out. And Nuke, it's Renegades. There's a first chance of getting to play this map, and I think Natu's going to win this prediction game pretty comfortably. It is an Australian game, though. I'm the Asian expert, not the Australian expert.
Right,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. And nor the NA or EU expert, and we've got both of those two players,
right?
one of which has taken the Mummy MVP award. It is, of course, Nifty yet again here, putting 26 for 8 on the board, 27 for 8 on the board, in fact, and plenty of opening kills, retakes, trade kills, and a decent impact rating of 6.39 as well.
Also showcasing he can play with the rifles, not Opera only. Definitely a versatile player and an up-and-coming guy. 19 years old.
His feet, doesn't he?
Crazy. I mean, just what really baffles me, along with Wizard, this Nifty has been the guy that's really shown a lot of wit. He's been really smart.
Absolutely, and even going into this minor, like many people, like they talk about, okay, Oz is going to definitely step up this time around. They got a Steelo. Jake has been very quiet. No one really spoke about Nifty. Everyone's like, he's a solid opper. He's pretty decent. And now he's going to be calling. It's going to be hard for him. There's going to be a lot of weight in his shoulders. And this guy, he's not just calling. He's just destroying everyone. Not just with the op, by the way. We saw his rifles as well. Crazy
Absolutely,
stuff.
Rifles great on the second half in particular.
And let's give Nexus some love too. I mean, he was the catalyst in the first half. Second round, the Eagle ace out of the blue. Basically, I mean, this could have turned out to be a very different game had that round not happened, because a pistol round win to Immunity. If they happened to win the first weapon round, maybe, it could have been a much more of a tighter game there. So Nexa definitely, I think he deserves all the praise as well.
Although credit to Ryan on Twitter, there are only 3 things certain in life: death, taxes, and anti-goes lost by Australians. So
2 Australians.
Yeah,
as well.
2 Australians. Obviously, has to be a domestic matchup to happen like that. But yeah, I mean, okay, let's just lose to an Australian team at the same time. We've got some more social media questions, so why don't we dip into our bundle and our sack of questions from you on the Reddit thread. Do head over to the Global Offensive. What?
Just looking at the question.
What? Oh God! Do head over to the Reddit thread. It's on the Global Offensive Reddit thread right now. You can hunt it down. Just search for PGL questions. You'll find it. At Natu, favourite Four Kings memory? Four Kings or D Skyline? Be careful. It's from an @Ben_Woodward. I've never heard of that guy.
Me either. Whoever is this guy?
Just for clarity, by the way, Ben used to run Four Kings when this man played for him as well. So he's got to be very careful with his
Ancient
answer.
history.
I'm not sure if it's a favorite memory. That one that is really distinctive is one where at a CPL We were always a bit of a cheeky team. We would do funny stuff. And
I remember.
Team 3D, for those of you that remember, Turbo, hi Craig. He now works with ESL, if I'm not mistaken. He was the manager of 3D, and he was really bummed out when his team went out in 9 to 12th. And we saw him at the same restaurant eating as we were. So we were nice guys as we were. We wanted to cheer him up. And we ordered him a cake. With 9 candles on it to resemble the 9 to 12 place that they had just got at the tournament.
You guys. What team was that? What lineup? Was you Magic Capra?
Yeah, me, Magic Capra, Akuji, Dave, good fella, probably.
Yeah.
Good times.
Fun
Four
team.
Kings or D-Skyline, really impossible to choose because both were very massive parts of my career. You know, D-Sky was the one where we first time I finished team doing really, really well internationally. Four Kings being my first professional team. A lot of great memories, a lot of good fun happening there. So I can't choose.
Story time.
There's
Probably safe to not choose because then you can't upset anyone then, can you? No, I know what you mean. Your first love. Or
I'm politically correct.
it's like the first love or your first wife.
Basically, yes. Right. let's not dwell more into this.
Okay, let's move on from that one.
Story time. Red Eye and Natu. I
Absolutely.
Feel so
Yeah, we should just do shows like this. We just dip into the annals of history of CS and of esports and come up with these magical. I mean, I remember there was a story about Element. I don't know if you obviously remember Element. You remember
Everyone
Element back
does.
from the day? Yeah. He was trying to give fish and chips to drivers alongside a road.
What a good guy.
He may have been slightly inebriated.
Sounds like Element, though.
Bizarre. One of
I've
my
heard
more
of him.
bizarre stories of CS players over the years. We'll move on with one more question, I guess, from our Mal sack, as it were. At Blair, one for you. How would you rank the countries in terms of skill level and achievements from Asia, I would imagine, that said?
Achievements and skill level. China, number one.
Yeah.
At least in Asia, and I'm not talking about Oceania, obviously. Just from the Asian perspective.
Oh, so we're not talking about the Valve Asia.
Yeah, the Valve Asia. It's going to be China. Skill-wise, it's hard to pick because if you look at Southeast Asia, like you've seen so many players migrate from Southeast Asian countries, but there's no like one particular team which has all the star players in the region. So it has to be China. I would say Mongolia because although we only know about the Mongols, think about it. This lineup is very different from the previous lineup.
There are a few teams behind them.
Yeah, and they have at least like considering the country so far away. There's they struggle a lot because of ping issues, traveling, blah blah blah. But the fact that so many good players, so many great aimers, I think that's pretty surprising. If they get great support over there, we might have, like we spoke on Mongols, right? To get a good coach, it could be something special. So, China, Mongolia, and this is tricky now. I'd say Thailand right now.
Who can you offend least?
Thailand.
Okay.
They like me.
Do they?
Yeah.
Lucky you. The only conversation I've ever had with the Mongols teams was last year at Aces ROG. And I said to him, how come like you guys keep producing like really good aimers? And he was like, we have fucking nothing else to do up there. And I was like, oh, okay, fair enough.
All right.
It's a bit like Finland, maybe. It's very cold most of the year. Spend 9 months of the year playing Counter-Strike.
I know, it's
That
dark
works.
too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, maybe there's something to it. I don't know.
So we basically replicate those conditions in a training camp in Asia, and boom, we win a major.
Absolutely. Go to Perth right now, set up an indoor snow centre, right? Put a load of land centres inside the snow centre. Hey presto, 9 months later, Australians will be world-class winning majors.
Flawless logic.
See, he thinks it's coaches.
Nah.
It's cold weather.
Absolutely.
That's the secret. Who knew? Do we have any more social media questions? I wonder if we do. Can we creep one more in from the Reddit thread? Do go and post some more. We'll see if we can get through some more today. We'll also have another one up tomorrow as well. When will new plans? What? Okay, this might need some English translation. When will new players will start to trickle in from China in the pro scene? I got there in the end. That's an interesting question.
I mean,
are you guys familiar with Dota and how it works in China?
Not really.
So they all have junior teams, and then the junior teams have like a junior team. There's a lot of depth in Dota. So just recently, the top Dota teams have started cherry picking some of the younger players in their junior teams or other junior teams and started pulling them into the main team. They've been sensational. So it's become a bit of these kids are pretty good. We should start moving them up, right? So when do we get to that kind of level in CS for China?
Very hard to say, to be honest. I mean, finally they have the support. Perfect World is bringing CS:GO actually now in China properly. So I mean, yeah.
And there's a number of big organisations. Tyler is one of them. Vici Gaming is a huge organisation in China. Has now got their own team. Wings Gaming also very interested in CS:GO. I think one of the guys in
There's eHome.
eHome as well.
Edward
Yeah,
Gaming.
and eHome, Edward Gaming,
Yeah.
obviously very big in League Legends, and have now started working into CS. So they are starting to notice this.
Yeah. I feel like they need to scout talent out because obviously there's just too many players to say, dude, there's just like 15 or 20 good players in China. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. The fact that like teams have to go out and look for Bented, and I'm not saying like it wasn't a good pickup. Bented's definitely a great pickup alongside Kazi and whatnot. But the fact that they had to come to a point where like we really have to compromise on the comms because we don't have anyone else to pick up from China. That's a massive issue.
Yeah.
So with Perfect World having the official Chinese version of Counter-Strike out there,
It's going to help massively.
it's going to help massively. And I feel like something like an FBL, something like a Rank S, that sort of thing, where you spot some talent out, pick them up, and start just having something like a junior team or like a B team, so to speak, and let them play with the likes of Captain Mo, like the likes of Karsa, for example. I think that might be the way we might see some new talent coming in.
Okay, being told that the players are ready for game number 2, so let's head back to our commentary team.
Cheers, Paul. I appreciate the the cable just falling down my chest as we're about to go.